Okay, so in this, I'm going to talk about horizontal part scaling. So, what is horizontal part scaling? That is, if you're running an application and has you've deployed three replicas, but your load increases, and then you want to dynamically be able to have Kubernetes scale the application based on the increase in the load and decrease in the load. When for example, when a lot of requests are hitting based on the threshold, the CPU hits the threshold, that's when you use the horizontal part scaling. But before we do the horizontal part scaling using the kubectl autoscale command, it's important to have a metrics server running. So what I have over here is I'm just running it from a link. Like if you Google for metrics server, you will be able to find it. So this is the one I'm going to use. And so I'll just go to my cluster, and three uh, I have three nodes as the past. One is the manager, like I discussed in my previous videos, and I have three workers. Two are running in public subnet, worker one, worker two, and I have a private subnet where I'm running worker three. And these are all running in the Amazon, their individual EC2 instances. So what I'm going to do is I want to apply the metrics server over here. So now I have a metrics server running in my cluster. So if you do get deployments, okay, so if I do kubectl get deployments, so my metric server is in the kube system, it's one. If I do the service, it will show the service, it's installed properly, last one. And if I do, just to get my horizontal part scaler, so I created the command to create horizontal part scaler is kubectl autoscale, and you have to give the deployment. So this I had shared earlier, so it is right here, which is Autoscale Deployment, and then you have to specify the so in my example I took a PHP, but you could also do any Nginx simple deployment with as many replicas, and then you can specify the resource consumption that in the autoscaler, that as soon as the CPU goes above 50, the minimum in this case should be 3, because in my other example is the 3 replicas. So that's what I'm going to do. So that created my uh, horizontal part scaler, which is called the Nginx. But if you see the target, it still shows unknown. I have created it for a while now, and it shouldn't be unknown. So that means the metrics server is not running properly. So if I try to do a kubectl, let's say I have to do describe. So here you're seeing it says failed to get CPU utilization because unable to get metrics. So somehow it's not able to pull the metrics because this value of HPA should not be, initially it will be 0 or it should be the minimum, and as we put on load on the Nginx deployment, like if you hit it multiple times, the load goes up, and if it consumes more than CPU, the replicas should go up to 10. But as in my scenario, my even my top commands are not running. So it looks like I have to set up the the metric server properly. And the error we can easily find out why it's complaining is if I do just kind of debugging. I just want to show you. So if I do if you if I do a let me see the parts, right? So the last one, it says it's running, okay, but it's definitely there is some error, because otherwise it would have grabbed the metrics. So if I do logs on this one, oh, if I do logs on the last one, I mean, then I will see the error. Yeah, so it seems there it cannot, it says fail to script node. So there is some networking communication issue and it's timing out. So the manager node needs to reach the kubelet running on the worker node on port 10250, and I have opened up ports between manager and worker EC2 instances, and but looks like there is something still missing. But this kind of I'll have to debug it, but this kind of gives an idea, just a high level about the horizontal part scaler, how to set it up and what is important. Yeah, so you need metric server, you need to set up HPA, and then the nginx deployment. I will just show you my YAML. For nginx is important to have the resource set up, so that because you are running a container with the resource request of 200 m, which me, and then you can also set a limit, so because after that limit it will start scaling up.